Oh my God, hey, Kevin McHale.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well. I'm very excited. I've been listening to the show again on the way here because it's one of my lesser-known Sondheims. I feel like it's one of everyone's lesser-known Sondheims. We're doing some niche musical theatre here.
Yeah, I am. I didn't know about the frogs before this, and I think a lot of people who will be coming have never seen or maybe heard of the frogs. And so it's a big incentive to do this show, is to get to expose people to more Sondheim. You know, there's only so much Sondheim.
Yeah.
So if there's an opportunity to do some Sondheim that isn't done very often, then we should.
Yeah. And a role that hasn't been played that many times. I mean, I think it was Roger Bart on Broadway. And then I was looking into this because it was the Yale production originally that was famous for having like Meryl Streep and Sigourney Weaver as frogs in the ensemble. Right. Do you know who played your role?
I don't.
I had to do some digging, and it was an actor named Michael Vale, I think was his name, who was most famous for becoming a beloved donut mascot through like the 70s through the 90s. But like, I think it was like Dunkin' Donuts commercials, but like really like seriously beloved. So
Duncan, if you're looking for a new mascot or an ambassador, I love donuts.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm very excited because I get to do something for the next few minutes that I haven't done since I was a teenager, which is talk a lot about Sondheim and a little bit about Glee at the same time. And the crossover, because I think the very first Sondheim song I ever heard in my life, if I really think about it, was probably Comedy Tonight from Forum, because they did it on The Muppet Show. And then like Bernadette Peters came on and I was like, this seems like it's from something else. And then next it would have been years later when Chris did Rose's Turn.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the first like Glee Sondheim moment we had.
Yeah.
Do you remember, my question is, your first experience, your first discovery of Sondheim?
Oh my gosh. I don't know what my first moment was. I unfortunately learned a lot during Glee because I was not from the musical theater world. So like Rose's Turn, that was the first time I'd ever heard that, was when Chris did it. Yeah. Probably every Sondheim song we did on that show. No, that's not true. Not every Sondheim. But a lot of it I learned during Glee, which is embarrassing. I'm trying to think of what I would have seen as a kid.
Oh, had you ever seen the film The Birdcage with Nathan Lane Robin Williams?
Yes.
So a lot of the music in that, like when Nathan Lane does the little snippet of a cabaret number, it's a cut song from Follies, and when they sing, when Christine Baranski and Robin Williams sing in her office, they're doing the cut opening from Forum for whatever reason, just Sondheim songs.
Gay movie. Yeah. Gay movie, add in Sondheim.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. It's like how every title of a Desperate Housewives episode is a different Stephen Sondheim song.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are there any songs from the Frogs, having now been in rehearsals for the show, that you think we could have done this on Glee? Where was the Glee X-Frogs collaboration?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you could have done Shaw, Dance to Shaw. There's Education, You're in a School. You could have done that. Ariadne's a beautiful song. There's absolutely some way somebody could have done a ballad.
Yeah.
We did that a lot. I don't know if the Frogs number itself could have fit in any capacity. I think doing a full episode about the Frogs would have been great.
Yeah.
We did Grease, we did West Side Story, we did Rocky Horror. I think the Frogs would have been appropriate to do for a high school production as well. Yeah. We could have fit that in.
Yeah. You had a swimming pool set that you famously got very involved in.
Exactly. We had a lot to work with, you know? We built a whole set for Rocky Horror with a working elevator, so we could have figured something out.
Was a functional elevator on that set?
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Used exactly one time?
Yeah, you know, like Artie couldn't get the right sort of school bus to take him to any competition, but yet we could build a working elevator as a prop.
Don't question it. Don't begin to question.
Like Rose's Turn? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
His name, like, get out of here. Yeah. Like I don't know where the disparity in the allotment of funds was going to in that school, but it was going to arts.
A very good point. A very good point. Now, I'm curious about your excitement for this project and sort of how this came to you, because when the announcement came through, it was like, wow, big surprise, but also it all kind of makes sense in a strange, curious, campy sort of a way.
Yeah, I think to me it makes a bit of sense because, one, it's getting to do Sondheim, like I said, that's not normally done. Working with Georgie, the director, was the biggest reason to do it. I met her over Zoom over a year ago and ended that conversation basically with, I will do anything you want to do. She's brilliant and just has great taste and I think a great vision for this and really loves Sondheim. And I think exposing audiences to lesser known Sondheim. And also I just love London. So, any excuse to be here and get out of the US right now. Sure. I didn't know how much I would need that back when I said yes to this. And getting to do theater here. I think the way people, interact with theater here and view theater here is so different than in the US. And it's such a vibrant community, not just for the people who are involved in it, but for audiences. And it is like that in New York, but I also think, here it's more accessible in a lot of ways. And getting to do it in a theater like Southwark Playhouse, where we are, this far from the audience or even closer, also is very, very exciting to me. So all of those things combined made for some sort of sense in my mind, and here I am.
Yeah. This is your London stage debut.
Yeah.
This is your theatrical debut here. That's also the best I've ever heard any American accent say the word Southwark. That was a really good job. Was there a learning curve?
It's taken some trial and error. I think first day I was here, I was like, okay, how do I do it? Because I'm not saying this word, how it's written on paper, because I know it's not correct. And then I said it with like an F, like it was Suffolk. One too many times people were like, oh, that's where you're doing it? I was like, no, just how you described that, that's not where I'm doing it. So I had some friends who say it like with it, like Suffolk. I'm like, that's just your accent. I can't get away with it. So a lot of trial and error. Yeah, embarrassing myself.
Yeah, I'm not sure Suffolk, lovely place. I'm not sure they're ready for this production of The Frogs.
Yeah, very different. Because I told somebody that, like, oh, that's where I'm from. I'm like, oh, no, that's not where it is. Yeah. So sorry.
And it's a brilliant cast that you're working with here in this show. Very, very exciting. And you're playing Xanthias. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us, in your own words, rather you than me, a little about this character and sort of about the show as well, if people are wondering what on earth this is?
The show is about the Greek god Dionysus going down to the underworld to bring back a great writer, an attempt to save humanity. Art can sort of save us all, that sort of thing. Which I think us who love entertainment and different mediums of art appreciate, aspire to. I play Xanthias, who is Dionysus' sidekick, sort of the, I would say the voice of reason, the voice of the audience. Dionysus has a lot of whimsical, big, lofty ideas. He's a Greek god, so speaks very poetically and all of that. And Xanthias is sort of his, let's say, servant, and does not understand why we are doing any of this. I think giving voice to a large swath of the population who maybe doesn't pay attention to daily politics or things going on socially, and it's like, everything will be fine. And it's a fun role. It's crazy. The show is crazy, and we get to really lean into that. And there's also there's a debate between Shakespeare and Shaw, two of the greatest writers, around, and, things that happen down in Hades that we could get to do with Sondheim music. So there's a bit of everything. It's really, really funny. Nathan Lane rewrote it in the early 2000s, and it's just sort of punchline after punchline, and then you get like a really beautifully written, spirited debate amongst writers and the importance of writing and poetry and what it means to people, and why people need that in art to communicate certain things, to empathize and to see the world in different ways. And somehow that's all fit into this show, and there's a 9-minute Frogs number. Yeah. So do with that what you will. Yeah. Meaningful and absurd, all mixed in together. Yeah, I think it's a really good balance, because I don't think it's not too much of one thing. There's Sondheim references, there's meta things going on. There's classic Greek comedy of it all, and Sondheim music, and dancing frogs, and then meaningful things happening, and it all somehow works, and I'm not sure why. Hopefully you agree that it works. Yeah. Hopefully people that come see it but I'm enjoying it, and I feel like I get to watch so much of it from my perspective, as Xanthias's perspective, and there's so many talented actors involved and dancing and singing their faces off.
On the subject of people needing art like this, I think I read when Nathan Lane, because he discovered it decades before, when he reworked it and brought it to Broadway in the early 2000s, it was sort of in response to the mood of the nation post-2001 and feeling as though it was timely and there was this need for it, and we're sort of increasingly in a place like that again in the US, but all over the world, and on so many levels. What do you think about that and about the capacity of great, meaningful and nonsensical theatre to kind of revitalize us?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we do need this. Even for me, like being in rehearsal and hearing this dialogue said out loud and portrayed by these great actors, every day there's been a new line that has sort of jumped out to me, like, oh my God, needed to hear that. Because I think when the world, for me, in the US, after the last presidential election, when it feels like it is so hard to have any sort of, it's so hard to figure out like what you can do to impact or to do some good in the world when it all feels so insurmountable. And I know here is not that far off from what's going on in the US. And I think for me, it's been like the little acts of like being with your friend groups, your community, and sort of acting out locally. Because when things are so big, that it's like, oh, we just have to start small and like find connection and start talking to people. And that's how you slowly start to make the difference again that we need to make. And I think art is the exact same thing. And I think shows like this do that. And, you know, it's not the most gigantic theater that we're playing in, but being able to hopefully impact even a couple people every single night, because you go and have a great time and laugh, don't take it seriously, fully works for that. It's a great time. But also, if you leave at the end of the night feeling invigorated and revitalized after sort of the hard things that have been happening socially and politically, and feeling motivated, because I think for me, it was like, how do you get motivated when everything just seems like it's chipping away at any progress we've made over the past couple of decades? But I think the words and the message of the show gives you the autonomy over our own message and gives you the hope that we can personally make a difference every single day, and that it does take us, but it doesn't have to be some big thing like I'm personally going to save the world, because nobody can do that. But us with each other and keeping each other propped up is how we do it. And the show does, I think, a really eloquent job of saying that without being too preachy.
I'm feeling inspired just by this conversation. That was beautiful. Not to dwell too much in the political realm, but this is your second stage role in the last year, right? And you did 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
Right, but before all of this.
Pre the horribleness. And if people don't know, the Kennedy Center, which is incredible productions, has done incredible productions. And Spelling Bee was part of this great partnership, bringing productions, put together in New York down to the Kennedy Center several times a year by a great producer named Jeffrey Fenn. And since Trump has elected, he has basically put himself in charge of the Kennedy Center and curating what's done there, and has put in just big donors in charge of that, instead of people who have been there for decades, who have been doing who love theater. Yeah. Absolutely love it. It's such a vibrant place to be at, and most of them don't work there anymore, which is really sad. And I feel very fortunate and lucky to have been able to do that show, which means so much to me. I'm a huge fan of that show. before all of this horribleness started happening there. I feel really, really bad for a lot of the people who have spent so much of their lives putting in time there and making it what it was. It is not going to be that now. But again, it's like we snuck in. We did it in October, and then he got elected a month later.
If that one ever was to have a future life, if that was ever to come to New York, if rumors are to be believed, is that a role that you would go back to and do again?
Yeah, I loved doing that. I loved that production of it. I loved doing it with that cast. If there's ever an opportunity to do it again, especially in New York, yeah, that's an immediate yes for me. Yeah. Love it. It's such a fun show to do. And also, I think it's a big show that people do in America in high schools or in college. Like when we were doing it, we ran into so many kids who were doing it at their universities as we were doing it. And that is just, you can feel that in an audience's reaction, and everybody has their interpretation of the roles you've done. Like, oh, I played this role. George, our director, did it growing up as well, which is amazing. And so I love that about that show, that it is so approachable and so many people have done it. And it's fun. I love getting to make people laugh. And when the show is written in that way, like this, where you don't have to do that much, it's funny and great. And to be on the receiving end of that is very, very lucky for me.
Yeah, we're kind of living through a golden era of the Glee alumni doing a lot of exciting things on Broadway and in theatre, alumni, if you will, if that works.
I think it does.
Whatsoever, yeah. Both in performing and in producing roles as well. And people are winning Tonys and people are nominated for Tonys this year. You've got Darren and Jonathan going head to head. How many of the various shows we've had over the last few years have you had the chance to go and see your former co-stars in?
Oh, not enough. Not enough. I'm actually trying to go see Darren when we're done with this. I need to go see Maybe Happy Ending desperately. I know, I want to see it so badly. I saw Alex and Shucked, which was just dumb. That show was so good. Go see it here in the park. One of my biggest regrets in life is not seeing Amber in Dreamgirls. I messed that up. Sorry, Amber. And she doesn't let me forget it.
I think she could still do it. There is no reason she couldn't do it again.
No, not at all. Anybody who can do that role, I don't know how you do that. That has to be one of the toughest roles ever written.
Jennifer Holliday kept doing it for like 40 years. Amber has time. There's time.
Yeah, she could still do it. I want her desperately to do it on Broadway. I saw Jenna in Waitress. I didn't get a chance to see Leah in Funny Girl. Glee related, but I've known Nicole Scherzinger for a long time, and I haven't seen her in Sunset Boulevard.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
I mean, a handful of these, thankfully, have been recorded for posterity, might be recorded for posterity if other rumors are to be believed. But no, you absolutely have to. How long is this running until at Southwark Playhouse?
We're running to the end of June.
Okay.
So you have the entire month of June to come see us.
Yeah.
And then I'll scurry off and see some shows in New York.
Yeah, you have like at least 3 weeks to go see Nicole and Sunset Boulevard. I'm telling you, that's a high priority. Yeah. And, tickets will be wildly expensive at that point, but that's what you get, frankly, for leaving it this late.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I need to see it for myself. I need to see her do that. And I've obviously heard nothing but incredible, incredible things. I'm also just glad that people, like, I've known she could sing like that since I was 15, but people don't know that, and she's a beast, and she's a theater nerd, and loves musical theater, and so I'm very, very, very happy for her.
Yeah, it's been joyous watching her, like, the fact that she does all of the backstage meet and greets every time someone goes to see the show, and she takes a photo with them, the fact that she does it with all the blood down her face, and she's doing that at the stage door, and...
She is theatrical. She's always been theatrical. Like, this is perfect for her. And I think it's a stretch for people to imagine, like, oh, Pussycat Doll doing this. This is who she's always been. She can do all these things. She doesn't have to fit in a little box.
It's the versatility. But people might say the same thing about Glee and Sondheim. Listen, you're bringing those two worlds together as well.
Yeah, Glee is the Nicole Scherzinger of TV.
Yeah. That's
what people have always said, and I've always said that. Yeah.
On the subject then of so many of you bringing talent to Broadway, have you daydreamed at all about what the Broadway show might be that takes Kevin McHale to Broadway for a Broadway debut?
I don't know what it would be, to be honest. This has all been so sort of unexpected for me, and I've really enjoyed there's some sort of, I think, through line between Spelling Bee and Frogs. There's like a commonality in the sense of humor in it, the wackiness of it, and I've really enjoyed doing that. And I also think because they've been done, like, this isn't West End, Spelling Bee was not Broadway, and there's something about, for me at least so far, doing these shows that are a little bit more specific and maybe aren't playing to those crowds. So I don't even know, like, I feel like, oh, maybe like an off-Broadway thing. Like, I want to do Little Shop. Like, that would be fun. So I don't even know. Also, Darren is like basically my manager when it comes to theater. So he's been trying to get me to do Maybe Happy Ending. So I'm like, sure. Yeah, I'll do Maybe Happy Ending when you're done. Great.
You'd be fantastic in Little Shop. That's a great piece of casting.
I'd love to do it.
Who's your Audrey going to be if you go do Little Shop?
Jenna and I want to do it together.
I mean, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put us in things together. Yeah.
Can Amber come and sing The Plant?
Oh my God. Yeah, she did it in LA, which was wild. To be sitting in the audience and then you just hear Amber coming through the PA was crazy. But Amber, whatever she wants to do, like, put her in Little Shop. I'll do Little Shop with her. Yeah. We'll do it with me and all the Glee girls. We'll just
rotate.
Go through.
There's some commonality, weirdly, between hearing Amber's voice and seeing Plant and her success on The Masked Singer. I think it's sort of the same, where it's just such an unmistakable, like, oh yeah, that's her voice.
Exactly. Yeah. Amber, the queen of winning reality shows. Yeah. She won Dancing with the Stars during Glee. Yeah. And then won Masked Singer. Yeah. And won an Olivier. Yeah. Which is obviously not a reality show, but when she's doing something, she wins. Yeah. Because she is the voice of a generation. Yeah. I'm trying to not do any more reality shows. Sure. Because I like to do fun things. Yeah. So
you're a serious London actor now. You're doing Sondheim here at Southwark Playhouse.
It's fun to say I'm a serious Sondheim actor when this show is anything but.
Yeah. If I know anything about a Georgie Rankin production as well, I'm thinking this is going to be vibrant. This is going to be queer, not necessarily overtly, but definitely kind of like talking about a lot of those ideas, but just sort of joyous as well is what I'm looking forward to about this, hopefully.
That is exactly correct. Yeah. You are nailing it 100%. It is joyous. It is queer. And I think she just, her love for Sondheim and understanding, I think, of Sondheim has really made all of us better and the show better for it. And I just think her work needs to be seen by everybody. And so I hope this is a vehicle for her to be seen more and more and for her to continue to go just do great things.
Is it charming to be doing this while Sondheim's final ever musical, Here We Are, is simultaneously playing over at the National Theatre, or is there some unspoken Sondheim rivalry happening across the river?
Oh yeah, Jesse and I will not speak to each other while this is happening. Absolutely hate all of those untalented people.
And he was in Spelling Bee as well. He was original cast Spelling Bee.
Yeah. And he came and saw us. So I went and saw him the other night, and Here We Are, and I've never seen him on stage before. And so that was nice. It was nice to be able to, after he came to DC to see us, which was so terrifying. Very terrifying. At least I was not playing his part. Yeah. There's absolutely no rivalry. And it was really fascinating to see, one of Sondheim's earliest works and then seeing his last work. And there's still so much experimenting and how daring it was. And there's an absolute through line, I think, between our two shows in terms of like the message, where I think a lot of his shows have about like the human condition and challenging our complacencies and things like that. And both shows explore that in very different ways. But I think that's what's so wonderful about Sondheim is that obviously like the music is great and it's challenging and really satisfying to listen to and to sing, but also just because of that, like the rhythm and the syncopation with the message of the stories that he's telling is fascinating. And I can't believe these shows are decades and decades apart because they feel related. I know it may sound dumb. Obviously, it's the same person who did it, but he did it at two very different points in his life.
Even within, I mean, there's such variety in his work, but no, there is a commonality between these and the themes they're talking about and the way that they do it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very different shows. And I was trying to tell Jesse that, I'm like, look, if you come to the show, I've never seen a stage look more expensive than your show.
You don't have an entire box set rolling forwards at Southwark Playhouse.
There's water, there's fire, there's a dining room that you see for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
This is not that.
Yeah. If there's fire on stage, audiences are encouraged. Something has gone wrong.
Yeah, to find your nearest exit safely.
Yeah.
But it's still Sondheim, and it's made me more excited to, like, when you're in that world, and I think a lot of Sondheim fans will hopefully be coming to see the show, where they will understand it deeply. And I'm excited for that. I was excited seeing it in rehearsal, because I'm like, how is Georgie going to do this? It's a wacky show on paper. And it's wacky when it's up, but it makes a lot more sense, obviously. And hearing it done by, I think, some of the incredible actors that are in the show really just breathes new life into it. And I'm very excited to have people see it.
I am very excited to come and watch. The show is running here at Southwark Playhouse Borough until the end of June, and it's Sometimes the Frogs. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me. I'm really, really thrilled about the show. For 10 more seconds, I'm MickeyJoTheatre. Oh my God, hey. Thanks for watching. Have a stagey day. Subscribe!